As leaders of the two richest countries embroiled in a trade war dined together in the South American city of Buenos Aires, they tried to cool tensions between them.
America will delay for 90 days the increase in tariffs from 10 to 25% on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods.
The very same day, on the 1st of December, in the North American country of Canada, a drama was about to take place at Vancouver Airport that would ratchet up tensions all over again.
Passengers arriving from Hong Kong and needing to catch their onward flight to Mexico, please proceed to Gate 81.
One of the travelers was 46-year-old Meng, CFO of the Chinese companies Huawei Technologies and daughter of Ren Zhengfei's first wife Meng, whose surname she surprisingly adopted at the age of 16 instead of her father's. As she was on her way to catch a connecting flight, Canadian authorities, after being convinced by the US to act,
Miss Meng, you are under arrest.
If the charges against Meng are proved, she could be jailed for up to 30 years. She will now face trial in Canada, where authorities will try to convince a judge to
extradite her to the United States.
Meng, also known as Sabrina Meng and Kathy Meng, knew there had been a warrant out for her arrest since August 2018. On becoming aware of the criminal investigation against Huawei in April 2017,
I avoided traveling to the US even if it meant I couldn't meet my son studying in Boston.
Least expecting to be detained of all places in a country of which she had formerly been a resident until 2009. The charges against Meng were laid out at a bail hearing 5 days later.
Miss Meng used the shell company Skycom in Hong Kong to divert equipment to Iran in violation of US sanctions.
Where according to the prosecutor, Meng had lied to American banks in 2013, enabling Huawei to circumvent US trade bans.
No. Huawei and Skycom are separate companies since 2009.
In contravention to Chinese and Hong Kong law, Meng has at least 7 different passports, 4 Chinese and 3 from Hong Kong, some of which she used to enter the US on 33 occasions between 2014 and 17. Huawei had already been under investigation for selling US origin products to Cuba, Iran, Sudan, Syria and North Korea. Dirt on Huawei was unearthed from documents submitted by their smaller Chinese rival ZTE Corp, who was punished by the US in 2016 on similar charges of doing business with Iran. ZTE would set up seemingly independent companies, basically shells termed as cut-off companies, that would sign deal with countries placed under US sanctions like Iran and North Korea. The document found cited as a model a rival company codenamed F7, the description of which matched that of Huawei. Huawei, founded in Shenzhen in 1987, is now the largest private company in China and spends $13 billion on R&D, 5 times more than Apple, and is at the cutting edge in 5G network technology. 5G technology is the next frontier that will facilitate IoT or Internet of Things, connecting everything like driverless cars with your garage door or your refrigerator to your grocer. In 2017-18, Huawei surpassed Sweden's Ericsson AB and Finland's Nokia to become the world's largest telecom network equipment supplier and will close 2018 with annual revenues of $108 billion and profits of around $9 billion. Adding another feather to its cap, when in late 2018, with 15% of the world's market, they surpassed Apple as the world's second largest smartphone manufacturer behind Samsung. The media-shy Ren Zhengfei is a member of the Communist Party and is provided a multi-billion-dollar line of credit by the Chinese government. The US and the others are worried that Huawei may be forced to spy for the Chinese, especially after a new law was recently introduced. All domestic firms must assist the government whenever asked. Even countries which oppose Trump's tariffs are now copying American restrictions by banning Huawei from providing them with 5G technologies over supposed fears of espionage. While Japan has banned government employees from using any Huawei device, New Zealand, Australia, British Telecom of Britain, Orange of France and Canada have banned them from 5G. Huawei, however, continues to be a supplier of 4G to 45 of the largest 50 telecom providers and despite restrictions signed 26 commercial contracts for 5G in 2018. India, who has an ongoing love-hate relationship with their larger rival, at first did not invite Huawei, present in the country since 1999, or ZTE to participate in 5G trials, but later added the former. However, despite being a larger market than the US, price-sensitive Indian telcos prefer Chinese companies as their products are cheaper by as much as 15 to 25% than European firms and also offer cheaper finance options. UK's intelligence agency GCHQ is working with Huawei to ensure their chips are incapable of being hijacked by unauthorized parties. To satisfy British intelligence and ensure their access to a $11 billion global 5G market, Huawei provides them full access to their lab in Banbury, Oxfordshire, dubbed the Cell. We will spend $2 billion and have agreed to perform all technical demands made by GCHQ to make them feel fully secure about our products. Meanwhile, the 12th richest Chinese woman on the Forbes list filed a 55-page affidavit insisting that she was not a flight risk.
I should be released as I suffer from hypertension, can't digest solid food, and have recently recovered from cancer in 2011.
After 3 days of hearings, a British Columbia justice ruled.
Bail is granted at 10 million Canadian dollars.
A large number of Chinese Canadians, who at 1.8 million form over 5% of the population, had come to show their support for Meng. Canada is also the second most visited country by Chinese tourists behind the US. But as she waits for her extradition hearing to the United States, she will be required to wear an ankle bracelet, surrender her passports, stay in Vancouver and its suburbs, and confine herself to one of her 2 Vancouver homes between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. China, which had so far only been making statements, release her immediately or there will be repercussions, acted by detaining former Canadian diplomat Michael Kovig on one of his regular trips to Beijing for the International Crisis Group, for which he works as Northeast Asia advisor. Next, arresting Canadian Michael Spavor, who runs a cultural exchange program with North Korea from Dandong and who is believed to have met Kim Jong-un recently. In a security-related meeting of US firms in Singapore attended by the likes of Disney, Google, Facebook and PayPal, they all voiced concerns over Chinese reprisals.
Travel to China by senior staff should be restricted.
So was the arrest made by an increasingly desperate USA that fears losing the 5G technological edge to Chinese rivals? Trump may announce the long-debated national emergency law in early 2019 that, without naming Huawei or ZTE, will ban them both from the US market. US companies are barred from using telecom equipment from manufacturers that threaten our national security. While fears over espionage is the outer face of this standoff, the real war is the battle to dominate the technology industry of the 21st century. BISBO's limerick. The US is threatened by a growing Huawei. They fear it will fall under the communist sway. 5G networks will, American secrets drill. Instead of Facebook, now China will on their information prey.